Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're so excited today to have Donovan Cooper with us, and he is running for London City Schools Board of Education this year, November 2021. And we are so excited to have him because he's an incumbent, and we're just anxious to learn about his thoughts and ideas and why he does, particularly in this climate, this work, and why he cares so much about our students and our children. So Donovan, welcome.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. And I know everyone is looking forward to getting to know you better. So you're an incumbent, you've been on the school board. So tell us a little bit about how long you've been on the school board and why you decided to run for re-election.
Okay, so I'm finishing up my first four-year term on the London City School Board. Going back to why I ran in the first place was my children. They've always been a part of the London City school system. And my wife at the time was volunteering at the elementary school in certain areas. And I thought to myself, what better way to help and do my part than to run for school board. So that's originally how it kind of started. And then the re-election part is I don't feel like I'm done yet. I don't feel like I've accomplished some goals that I had set due to, shutdown and pandemic. And there's a big part of me that still cares for the students and the teachers.
Well, that's awesome. And Donovan, I've had an opportunity to see you in action a little bit and hear you at another event. And I will tell you that caring really comes out. And as a citizen who is counting on these students being my cardiologist when I'm old, I'm really thankful that you care.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going to work on my cars. They're going to fix the HVAC on my house when I'm old. And, we're making an investment in the students to be our future. And I appreciate that it's authentic and it comes across in you as being authentic. So you mentioned you have children in the school system. What grades are they in? And do you have any graduating soon or?
A little ways from graduation, but I know it'll be here before you know it. As I know, this last 4 years have flown by. My oldest is Jaden. He's in 7th grade. My middle one is Gavin. He's in 4th grade. And my youngest one just started in kindergarten, and he's in kindergarten. So yeah. So I have a little way. I have, and we're not going anywhere. So
that's super. When you have that kind of age range, ours have a big age range like that too. With the first one, you're like, we've got to get this right. The one who's young now, you're like, do you have a temperature? Because if not, you can get your homework done. We're going to school tomorrow. Are you bleeding to death? We're going to school tomorrow.
Yeah, the first child, he trips and falls and you're off to the ER. And then after that, you're like, brush it off.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. That is an exciting season in your family's life. And so thank you for sharing that with us. So as we think about London City Schools, is there anything about our schools that keeps you up at night, that worries you and keeps you up at night?
Yeah. Yeah. So probably 2,225 students and 235 staff members. That's a lot of weight to carry, and they put a lot of trust in their board members. And then the students, parents, they trust us. We are the face, we are the leaders of the district. And, despite this, depending on what we're going through at the time, aside from COVID, could have a lot of personal effect on you. You never want to see anybody lose their job. You want the best for equal education for all of our students. You want to make sure that they're getting that. Now, moving on to COVID, and my wife would tell you, I lost a lot of sleep during that. A lot of people know I was an advocate about staying in session in school, in person. We had an issue with my oldest child, and he was struggling really bad. And you, Beth, as you know, they're all different. All your children are different, probably, in the mindset of one may pick up on something that the other one doesn't. And my middle one, Gavin, who was in 3rd grade at the time, he could fly by and get his work done and be okay. But our oldest, and it's not because the parents aren't trying. I found this out, but I joke with people. My wife probably has more degrees than a thermometer, so she, and I have a bachelor's degree, and we tried, and there was tears, and there was struggles, and there was fight. He wasn't comprehending the online aspect of learning. He just couldn't do it. And then the longer we stayed hybrid and shut down and away, I started receiving emails from concerned parents who shared the same feelings that I did. And I would tell my wife, or I'd tell her, so and so has a child, it's a little girl that's in middle school, they're going through the same struggle that we are. And but everybody's trying here. And so there, to get the kids back in school, I would say has been my biggest challenge yet. My background, I know a lot of attorneys and people who study the law and read about the law, and I was working with them daily to see, can we beat this? How can we get around this? Our kids need each other. And, prior to Christmas, I was met with more resentment on trying to get the kids in school just for 2 weeks. And some parents came at me and said, it's 2 weeks and they go on Christmas break. And I said, I get that. I said, but this is just so they could interact socially with each other. This isn't, yeah, if they go in and they can pick up and learn some things and get caught up to where we've been hybrid, then that's great. But this, to me, that was more for the interaction face to face. So those have all been weighing on my mind, and then the anticipation of, like everyone else, what's going to happen when school opens up again, or when the first part of the year, or and I felt it at the board meetings too, like everybody's anxious. Are they going to throw us a curveball, and I didn't want to see that happen either.
Yeah, leading through chaos is hard, but that's what separates, managers from leaders, and making those hard decisions and standing up. And certainly for the whole world, this COVID-19 came out of the blue and it has created chaos. And we really need leaders who will say, we got to do the best we can do. We have to do the best we can do for our students. And so thank you for sharing that with us. And I can't imagine the sleepless nights about 2,000 children and teachers. And so thank you for leading through that. I appreciate it. Thinking through.
I'm sorry, Beth.
No.
But you brought up an interesting point in directing, and deciphering leaders and managers. And, I read several books by John Maxwell, and that's what he constantly is driving in his message. And I think that through reading and studying and becoming a bigger person, I think that's, I owe a lot to that,
Yeah. Particularly in chaos, we need more leaders, folks who are willing to step up in the chaos and say, listen, we just have to figure this out. And so thank you for doing that. It's, none of us had ever lived through this before. I pray we never live through it again, have this ever happen again. But at the end of the day, it's about our children. And so thank you for doing that. So thinking about London City Schools, what excites you about our schools?
Everything from the close community that we have, the outpouring of support that we have. And it never dies down. I was born and raised in London, and we have grown probably triple the size of when I was a small kid going to the old schools in one block. But even though that we've grown and doubled and tripled in size, the community's still there for our youth, whether it be education, student achievement, at the graduations, and athletics. We're there. And I think even the new people that move into London and find their home here and are part of the community sees that as well. our neighbor and friend, little Sean Sobalski, was going through and is currently going through, his cancer belt. And we really stepped up as a community to help the family out. And the school stepped up and stepped in. And I think that, that makes you proud. It makes you proud as a parent and especially as a board member.
Yeah, everybody from the mayor, the teachers, the sports teams, the school, just everybody's come through to support him. I was in a meeting this morning and we were talking about where we live, and I was sharing and I said, we still have a homecoming parade. And my colleague was like, what? I'm like, yes, it's so exciting. We still have a homecoming parade, but these things are important and they make an impact for our students when they see the community and the adults come out and cheer them on and affirm them as being important and valuable to our town and to our community. So, it's really exciting to talk about those things. I appreciate that. So you're an incumbent. You've been through the toughest part of, I don't know if it's the toughest part of COVID. I'm going to be honest. I don't have this crystal ball, but you've certainly been through the governor's orders in the beginning and all the uncertainty. You've been through all that. So just as you think about what you bring to the board in this particular ballot, what do you believe you bring that no one else offers?
Well, my leadership experience, I've had the opportunity to lead people for several years now. I'm not shy, as a lot of people will tell you. If you don't know me, I'm very outspoken. And I believe that the parents in our community are who need that voice. We represent them. We don't represent our personal agenda items up there on the board. We represent them and the students, and we're always looking for forward progress and the best thing for our school district. We want to stand out on top. We want to be the best in Madison County, and strive for the best in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, why shouldn't we be the best? Right? I agree.
Right.
I'm glad to hear you say that. That's awesome. And we have such good resources. We have a great school system. We have really lots of job opportunities in the area. We have great training at tolls. And so that's exciting. So I'm glad to hear you bring that up. Well, the listeners are going to want to know a little bit more about you as they think about you, not only as a candidate, but it's a great way to get to know you as our neighbor. So Donovan, what fun fact do you have to share with us about yourself or your family?
I guess one of the fun facts would be I grew up in the same house on the same street with the same group of kids, guys, best friends since forever, until we all graduated and moved away. Went to college and went on to our personal careers. But two of them are brothers, and they live up in the Millersburg, Ohio area, and then one's down in Fort Myers. And we never broke that bond. We can, we talk daily. We talk every day. And then when we see each other, it's like we've never not seen each other. And some of the very few people that know that will even ask, how's Miles doing? I know you guys talk every day. Or how's Ryan Scott doing? And then new people that we may meet when we go out, and organizations and stuff, are like, you guys have known each other your whole life, and you still hang out like it was yesterday. And absolutely. And people say that's just great. So a lot of the people around here may not know that, but that's one of them.
That is a fun fact. That's wonderful. Those lifelong relationships. And that brings us back around to one of the exciting things about London, Ohio, is the tight-knit community and how we all just come together. Well, Donovan, we're glad you're our neighbor. So thank you for joining us today. And we appreciate your leadership and your courage to run again. So thank you very much for joining us today.